Hello everybody and welcome to another Brain Attack music video. Could I just start off by thanking those of you who've commented on my previous videos. I've had some very lovely, kind feedback and that's much appreciated. However, if I could ask you to leave the feedback, if you do, on the YouTube page as opposed to the Facebook page where you see the link to the video. The simple reason is when people are scrolling through YouTube, if they happen to come across a video, and I'm sure you may have done this yourself, first thing you might do is look at the comments to see what comments people have made. And of course, if there are no comments there, you tend to think, oh, well, I'll move on and look at something else. So thank you for the comments, but if you could in future leave them on the YouTube channel below the video here, that would be fantastic. So thank you anyway for all your feedback, much appreciated. And the topic for this video is, I've called it What People Don't See. And there's a whole number of things behind that simple statement. This was actually pointed out to me by my wife. After my 3 weeks in hospital, discharged, went home, and had a visit after a couple of days from a friend, and I was not in a good way. And my friend arrived, and my wife Mags had been saying to my friends, you know, this is a situation, he's had brain surgery, he's had a major stroke, he's not in a good way, etc, etc, etc. So my friend arrived expecting to see me in, you know, a degree of discomfort, distress and all the rest of it. And I'm like, hello mate, lovely to see you, great, come in, sit down, would you like a drink, what would you like? Kind of my default mode prior to having the stroke and the brain surgery. And my wife couldn't believe it. And she said you could see the shock on my friend's face, which was, oh, I kind of thought he was in a bad way, but he seems quite normal. So there was this disconnect for him between what my wife had been telling him and what he was seeing in front of him. So we had a cup of tea, cup of coffee, and a chat for, you know, half an hour, and he left. Now, what I now know, the benefit of coming up for 8 years later, what I now know is that I would resort to that, let's call it performance mode, my default position. Remember, I am a performer. That's what I do, drumming. So I kind of have that in me. And there have been many times in the past, prior to my stroke, when I haven't felt well, as we all do, and we might feel unwell and we take the day off work. Well, obviously, particularly when you're only getting paid when you work, and it's also, if you say, actually I can't do the gig tonight, I'm not up to it, that's it, that's the gig over. Nobody gets paid, and there's an audience who's disappointed. So it's kind of a responsibility. It's not just about you, it's about everybody else. So there have been plenty of times in the past where I haven't felt terribly well, didn't feel like doing a gig, didn't feel like rehearsing, didn't feel like recording, whatever it was, didn't feel like teaching, you know, but you kind of push on because you've got other people to think about. So you go and do it. Now, this never happened to me, but the music business is full of stories of people who are so ill they actually leave the stage partway through the performance, throw up in a bucket at the side of the stage, then come back on and finish the gig. Never happened to me, but that's kind of that's the what I call performance mode. Now, the title of the video, What People Don't See. What my mate didn't see, after he'd seen me for half an hour, had a cup of tea and a chat, and thought, God, he's doing bloody well. What he didn't see then was the fact that I took to my bed for 3 days, because that half an hour performance had completely wiped me out. So on the plus side, yeah, I can do it. On the downside, I pay the price, and I think we're all in that situation where we make efforts, where it's somebody's birthday, where it's maybe a wedding we've got to go to, or it's an anniversary, or there's a social event, and we make the effort. We go to it, we do it. People go, "You're looking good, you're doing well." Yeah, you don't know what's going on in here though, mate, do you? and then we're kiboshed for the next day, the next 2 days, the next 3 days, however many days it is that effort to do that thing has taken out of us. So we live this kind of up and down world until we get used to it and kind of moderate things a bit. And as I may have said in previous videos, I'm now at the stage where if I have something coming up, an event, an appointment, whatever, that's 5 days out of my diary. That's 2 days to do nothing beforehand so I can get through the event, and then 2 days to recover from the event. So that one thing takes 5 days out of my life, and that's how I manage to keep on an even keel rather than the up and down. So there are plenty of other examples that I can give within my first probably 2 years of where I was doing things, going into performance mode, making a huge effort, doing the thing, people saying, "God, you're doing well," and then crashing and burning for the next few days. And people don't see the crashing and burning for the next few days. They don't see you when you are unable to do stuff. They don't see you when you are crashed out in bed. They don't see you when you're sitting in the armchair staring into space because your brain has just shut down. They don't see that. It's kind of like these videos. I only do these videos when I'm able to do them, when I'm capable of doing them. So many people could tune in and see some of these videos. "Oh, he seems to be doing okay, doesn't he?" Yeah, because you don't see what I'm doing the 2 or 3 days before I do the videos and the 2 or 3 days after I've done the videos. And neither do people see the bits that I've edited out. So I'm very conscious that with these videos, I'm presenting my best face to you. And I think that's what we tend to do. Most people, I believe, tend to go, "Yeah, I'm okay, that's fine. Do you want to sit down?" No, I'm fine. "Do you want me to get you something?" "No, I can get it myself, that's okay." I think most of us fall into that category as opposed to, "I can't do anything. I'm struggling. Could you do it for me?" Because all of that desire to do stuff is part of rehabilitation. That's part of our therapy. And I've had many discussions with my wife about this when she's known I'm struggling, and I'll say, "No, I'm going to put the kettle on and make a cup of tea," and she'll say, No, I can do it." And I'll say, "Honey, I have to do this. Is part of me recovering. This is part of me making improvements. Please let me do it." And she gets it, but it sits uncomfortably with her. And I wonder, with all of this, are we being too hard on ourselves? And I look back to when I was living my life like this, and I wonder what that did for my blood pressure. I wonder what that did for my physiology, my heart. Because I think there's a balance between pushing and making the effort, but then pushing too hard and making too much effort and putting too much strain on ourselves. And I know it took me a long time before that started to become a little bit more like that. Certainly a good 2 years, and before I got to that, but then years 3 and 4 were this kind of thing before it became a bit more even. And I still struggle. I still do a little bits of this. It still happens. And I think a lot of this, are we pushing ourselves too hard, will depend on our default mode prior to our stroke. And I can only speak for myself, but I was one of these people that would push myself and keep pushing myself and keep pushing myself to do the things that I needed to do. And I've already said that there were certain situations with my drumming where I would probably have been better off if I'd stayed at home and gone to bed. but I didn't. So that was what I call my default mode. And I think if you are that way, if that is your default mode, then post-stroke you will tend to, I can do stuff, crash and burn. I can do stuff, crash and burn. I can do stuff, crash and burn, until eventually they start to level off and we get the hang of, well, I say eventually, maybe we don't. Maybe some of us are still 3 years down the line. I can do stuff, crash and burn. I can do stuff, crash and burn. And, we're all different. We all do things in different ways. But I do wonder, 3 years post-stroke, if you're still, I can do stuff, crash and burn. I can do stuff, crash and burn. I wonder whether that's healthy. I don't know. It's an open question. And maybe if you are that way, maybe you think, maybe I am. I don't know. Maybe I am overdoing it. Maybe I am pushing too hard. Because in the same way that we can not push enough, we can push too hard. And finding that balance in the middle is difficult. So coming back to what people don't see, are we doing ourselves an injustice? What I mean by that is, if I'm giving the impression to, other than my wife who's with me virtually all the time, am I doing an injustice myself by, for example, giving my extended family the impression that I'm all good because they only see me, like you guys now, on a good day? I only talk to my sons on the phone or Skype when it's a good day, and they know that there have been plenty of occasions when we've arranged to make a call and I've had to send a text half an hour beforehand saying, sorry mate, I'm not up to this, can we try again another day? And we've rearranged. My youngest son lives about an hour away, my eldest son lives about 6 hours away, so I see, at least prior to the pandemic, I saw my youngest son more often than my eldest son. And there were plenty of times when my wife and I had arranged to meet my youngest son and his wife, and again I'd have to cancel because I wouldn't be up to it. Or maybe we'd go and see them and I'd say, look, I know we were due to stay for, a few hours, but it's been an hour to get here in the car and I'm not feeling too good. And can we have a cup of tea and a biscuit, and then we need to go. But so I think they're aware that, Dad isn't quite firing on all cylinders all the time, and that there are good days and there are bad days. But outside of that, I'm very conscious that with neighbours, and we live in a small town, so know quite a few people in the local shops and local businesses, I'm very conscious that they only see me when I'm able. So their view of me might well be, well, actually he's doing okay. I don't quite know why they talk about him struggling and all the rest of it, because whenever I see him, he seems fine. Yeah, that's because I only go out when I'm fine. So the one day a month that they may see me, and they make all their judgments about us based on that one day a month. The fact that the other 29 days we're struggling and they don't see us because we're inside, that has no factor in their judgment of how we're doing. So I wonder if we are doing ourselves a bit of an injustice by only showing ourselves when we're good. And to that end, just as an aside, I'm planning on doing a video about brain fog, zombie days as I call them, and I am trying to take short videos of myself when I am like that, in order to put them together, and then I can put it out there, and then particularly for your friends or family, if you want them to get an idea about what the brain fog days are like, you watch this guy for 5 minutes. The difficulty there is it's that fine line between, yeah, I'm bad enough that I think this is going to be okay, and I can just about string a sentence together and put myself on camera. But, you know, give it another 5 minutes and it'll be, I was going to do what? I don't know what you're talking about. So I'm being a little bit unsuccessful in how many of those clips I've got, because generally it's 2 days later when I come round out of the brain fog days and it's like, I should have done a video, I forgot, I should have. So we'll see how we go. But as I say, I do wonder if we are doing ourselves a bit of an injustice by only showing our best face to people. Maybe we should show our other faces as well, so they get a better idea. For example, just my GP. I've had plenty of appointments with him where I've cancelled. When I was seeing the psychologist up here in Scotland, I actually got kicked off because it's a 3 strikes and out policy. So I cancelled 3 times because I wasn't up to going, and I always sent an email, left a message, whatever, so that the appointment could be given to somebody else. Now, admittedly, it was very often, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and my appointment was 9 o'clock the next morning, and it was like, no, I can't, I'm not up to it, I can't come, sorry. But they had a 3 strikes and out policy. So if you cancelled 3 times, even though you left a message, the fact that you didn't, it wasn't like a no-show, just not turning up. The fact you did that 3 times meant, sorry, we're withdrawing the service. And he was fine about it. He was very apologetic. So I was saying, what? This is nuts, because the people that need the service the most will be the ones that'll be struggling to get there. Yes, I know, Andy, but that's the policy. That's the system. In the same way, I said, is it possible we could have half-hour appointments? Because I find the hours too long. No, sorry, they have to be an hour. So I just wonder, are we doing ourselves an injustice? Because people tend to see us at our best. Maybe they should see us at our worst, or at least getting that way. I don't know, be interested to know your thoughts. Please leave some comments on the YouTube channel below. And thanks for your time. Thanks for watching. Keep the comments coming. Take care now. Bye-bye.